God is your banker. Faith is your currency. Welcome to a moment of transformation, a message crafted to awaken the faith within you and align you with a higher source of supply. In a world driven by fear and scarcity, this is a call back to truth, to power, to divine abundance. This is not just motivation. This is revelation, a reminder that you are never broke when heaven is your source, that faith is not weakness, it is currency. Tune in, take this in, let it shift your mindset and move your spirit. This is God is your banker. Faith is your currency. Then, the divine source. Every great journey begins with a foundation, and in your journey toward prosperity, the foundation is this: you are not alone, and you are not dependent on the world's system. The true source of your provision, of every opportunity, every breakthrough, every idea, every dollar, is not your job, your background, or your bank account. It is God, not a far-off idea, not a religious figure on a shelf, but a real, present, active force of supply and order, infinite in resources, unlimited in creativity, and personal in love. God is your banker. Let's reframe what that means. In the natural world, we are trained to depend on systems. We look to our employers for income, the economy for security, the stock market for growth, and governments for stability. But all of those are shifting sands. They rise and fall. They move with trends, elections, news, and fear. But God never changes. The supply chain of the heavens is never broken. The market of miracles never crashes. When you anchor your faith in the source, not the channels, you step into a realm of peace that transcends the panic of the world. Imagine this: you walk into a bank, but it's not a normal bank. There are no tellers, no queues, no loan officers, just one divine presence, and your account is already overflowing. No fees, no credit checks, no judgment. Everything you need is already there. But there's a condition. You must trust the banker. You must believe that the supply exists, even when you can't yet see the physical evidence. This is where most people stumble, because they've been taught that what they see is more real than what they believe. They've been taught to rely on logic, not spirit. But faith flips the equation. It says, believe first, then see. God is not moved by need. God is moved by faith. Need is everywhere, but faith is rare. Need complains, faith commands. Need waits, faith walks. Need says, I don't have. Faith says, my Father owns it all. Look around you. Everything in nature reflects this truth. The sun rises without a question. The trees stretch upward without doubt. The birds fly each day with no fear of famine. They don't worry. They trust the source. You too were created to live that way. To wake up each morning, knowing that your provision has already been arranged, that you are not behind, you are in perfect timing, that everything you need is making its way to you the moment you believe. The job, already lined up, the opportunity already waiting, the healing, already in motion, the money, already flowing. But to access it, you must shift your gaze, take your eyes off the limitation, and lift them to the source. The divine bank account doesn't deal in fear. It responds only to faith. Let me make something clear. This is not magical thinking. This is spiritual law. Just as gravity pulls objects toward the earth, faith pulls provision toward your life. The world calls it coincidence, but you know better. You know that divine alignment is always at work. And when you truly believe God is your banker, you stop begging and start declaring. You don't ask as if you're unworthy. You speak as a child of the Most High, with authority, with certainty, with expectancy, because God never runs out. God never says, it's too late. God never looks at your situation and says, that's too hard. Some may laugh at that kind of belief. Let them. Because while others wait for the economy to shift, you're walking in abundance. While others chase opportunities, opportunities are chasing you. Why? Because your source is not of this world. People may say, you're too confident. But confidence in God is not arrogance. It's alignment. It's knowing where your help comes from. It's standing on the promises of something eternal, not external. So let's make it practical. How do you begin living as if God is your banker? First, rewire your thoughts. Every time lack shows up, answer it with truth. Say, my God supplies all my needs. When the bill comes and fear knocks, say, this will be covered. My source has never failed me. Second, stop worshiping channels. Your job is not your source, it's a channel. Your business, your clients, your network, they are just delivery systems. God is the one writing the checks behind the scenes. When one channel closes, another opens. Why? Because the source never runs dry. Third, stay connected. Prayer is your private consultation with the divine banker. You don't have to go into a vault, just into a quiet space. Tell God what you need, thank Him for what's already on the way, and listen. Often the greatest transactions happen in silence, through a whisper, an idea, a sudden peace. Finally, walk like it's already yours, not arrogantly, but confidently. Show up to life like you have access to the highest bank in the universe. Because you do. You are not broke. You are not forgotten. You are connected to a source that never sleeps, never struggles, and never withholds what is good for you. So stand tall, smile wide, and say with boldness, God is my banker, and my account is full. 2. Faith as currency. In the world's economy, you spend dollars, yen, euros. You measure wealth in numbers, in coins, in accounts. But in the divine economy, the rules are different. The most valuable currency you possess is not in your wallet. It's not stored in a bank. It's not backed by gold or crypto. It's backed by heaven. And its name is faith. Faith is the spiritual currency that moves the unseen into the seen. It is the invisible purchasing power that makes visible miracles. Faith is what connects your need with God's supply. Faith is what unlocks the vault of divine provision. Faith doesn't ask for evidence. Faith is the evidence. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That's not a metaphor, that's a law. Just as your credit card gives you access to goods and services, faith gives you access to supernatural favor and resources. But there's a key difference. Credit relies on your past performance. Faith relies on God's unchanging nature. Credit can be denied. Faith never is, when it's rooted in trust, not fear. Now let's get practical. How do you use faith like a currency? How do you spend it? You speak it. You walk in it. You act like the thing you believe for is already done, because in the spirit it is. You don't wait to feel secure. You declare security. You don't wait to see money before you believe it's coming. You praise as if the account is full. Faith doesn't ask how will this happen. It says it's already handled. Faith doesn't consult logic. Faith consults truth. This is where most people miss it. They say they have faith, but they also carry fear. They speak abundance in the morning and doubt by noon. That's not faith, that's mental hope with no spiritual substance. Faith is consistent. It doesn't flinch. It doesn't stutter. It holds the line when nothing around it makes sense. Picture a spiritual debit card, one connected to the divine vault of unlimited supply. Your PIN code is belief, your authorization is trust, and your transaction goes through when you speak and act in alignment. Let me tell you a secret. You don't need a plan as much as you need faith, because faith will give birth to the plan. Faith will draw the people. Faith will create the opportunity. Faith attracts what fear repels. Where fear builds walls, faith opens doors. Every time you choose to believe when logic says stop, you make a deposit into your destiny. You are accumulating spiritual momentum, and at the right time, the return comes, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. But faith without action is just potential. It's money left unspent. You have to use it. You have to spend it. That means making bold moves when the natural facts say be careful. That means giving when your mind says hold on to what you have. That means walking into rooms, opportunities, and dreams like you belong there, even if you can't explain why. Why? Because faith doesn't ask permission. Faith already knows it's been approved. Listen, your circumstances are not your source of truth. Your bank account does not define your destiny. The opinion of others is not the limit of your success. Faith transcends all of it. It creates what doesn't yet exist. It calls the unseen into being. Faith says, I may not see it, but I believe. I may not feel it, but I trust it. I may not have it in hand, but I hold it in my heart. And that is enough to begin. But here's where faith separates the few from the many. Faith requires endurance. It's not a one-time declaration. It's a daily posture. You don't just believe on Sunday. You believe on Monday when bills show up. You believe on Tuesday when the opportunity still hasn't come. You believe on Wednesday when your emotions say give up. You keep believing, not because it's easy, but because it's true. Faith doesn't make things easy. It makes things possible. Let's talk about emotional faith versus spiritual faith. Emotional faith believes when it feels good. Spiritual faith believes when nothing feels right. Emotional faith gets excited at the idea. Spiritual faith gets disciplined in the waiting. So if you're tired of waiting, don't give up, level up, increase your currency, spend more boldly, speak more confidently, declare more powerfully. Faith is not a whisper, it's a decree. Let me be clear, you don't need more money, you need more faith. Because faith brings money, faith brings healing, faith brings restoration, faith brings people, faith brings direction. It is the master key in the kingdom economy. And if you've been feeling stuck, if the doors haven't opened yet, if the flow feels blocked, ask yourself, have I truly been spending faith, or have I been spending fear? Because fear also has a cost, but it only buys delay, disappointment, and distraction. Faith purchases destiny. So today, check your spiritual account. You have more than enough. Spend faith like it's limitless, because it is. Speak like it's done, because it is. Walk like it's yours, because it is. God is your banker, and faith is your currency. 3. The law of demand. There is a spiritual law that governs the flow of provision in the universe. It is not the law of luck. It is not the law of hustle. It is not the law of striving or begging. It is the law of demand. This law is simple. You receive not according to need, but according to demand. The divine system doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to faithful, bold, confident demand. You might say, but I need healing. I need provision. I need breakthrough. And the universe replies, place a demand. Withdraw what's already yours. You don't demand like a thief. You demand like an heir. An heir doesn't knock nervously on the vault door. An heir walks in and claims what belongs to them by inheritance. The key, they know what they're entitled to, and here's the truth. So deep down, you know you were made for more. You were never designed to scrape by. You were never created to beg your way through life. You were created to partner with the divine, to access heaven's resources and distribute them boldly on earth. Demand is not shouting. It's not emotional. It's spiritual. It's the quiet, unwavering authority that says, I know who I am. I know what belongs to me, and I claim it now. And about the bank again. A demand draft isn't a request. It's an order, a non-negotiable instruction to release funds already set aside. That's what your faith-filled declaration is in the spirit. A divine demand draft, written not in ink but in trust. When you align your words with the will of heaven, you activate the law of demand. Your voice becomes a key, your posture becomes a signal, your belief becomes a magnet. Heaven does not move on begging, heaven moves on believing. There is a big difference between asking and demanding. Asking is, can I have this, if it's okay? Demanding is, I'm here to collect what's mine. One comes from uncertainty, the other comes from identity. You are not a beggar in the kingdom. You are a child of the Most High. And what child hesitates to ask their father for what they need? No child wakes up and wonders if they'll be allowed to eat. They expect it. They know the fridge is theirs. They don't question access. They walk in, open the door, and receive. That's how you are called to live spiritually. But most people have been trained to pray from a place of weakness, to beg, to plead, to ask for crumbs when a feast is prepared. That ends today. You're not pleading for scraps. You're claiming your inheritance. Here's the catch. The law of demand works only when it is backed by faith and clarity. Faith that the source is real. Clarity that what you're asking for is aligned with your divine purpose. You can't demand blindly. You must demand boldly, with focus. Be specific. What are you placing a demand on? Is it peace in your home? Is it increase in your business? Is it restoration in your relationships? Clarity in your purpose? Resources for your vision? Name it. Speak it. Demand it. When you do, the universe rearranges. Circumstances begin to align. People are moved into position. Ideas drop into your spirit. Doors start to open, not randomly, but in response to your demand. Let's talk about how to activate this law in real life. Speak with authority. Your voice is the instrument of demand. You don't whisper your destiny, you declare it. You don't say, maybe one day, you say, it is mine now. DP. Write the vision. Demand needs direction. Write down exactly what you are expecting. Be detailed. Be clear. You can't withdraw what you haven't identified. 3. Prepare like it's already done. Demand is not passive. It requires expectation. Make space for what you're demanding. Prepare the room. Buy the outfit. Clear the calendar. Act as if the thing is already en route, because it is. Refuse to settle. The enemy of divine supply is good enough. When you accept less than your purpose, you cancel your demand. Never apologize for expecting more. Your hunger honors your source. Listen, obey, adjust. The law of demand is not about control, it's about co-creation. This law is universal. It doesn't care about your background. It doesn't care about your past. It doesn't care what others said you could or couldn't have. It responds only to your faith-filled demand. So the next time life says, you can't have that, you're not ready, you're not qualified, you say, I'm not here for your permission, I'm here for my provision, because you know where your help comes from. You know who your banker is, and you know the supply is already waiting. So make the call, send the application, speak the vision, launch the thing, step out. Heaven is not looking for hesitation, it's waiting for demand. The vault is open, the account is full, and your name is on the withdrawal slip. God is your banker, faith is your currency, and today, demand is your key. 4. Eliminate doubt, activate flow. There is one silent thief of destiny. It doesn't show up with a loud bang. It doesn't destroy with obvious force. It slips in quietly through questions, hesitation, fear, and hesitation dressed as logic. Its name is doubt. Doubt is not innocent, it is expensive. Every time you entertain it, you delay a divine transaction. Every time you rehearse it, you disrupt the spiritual flow of provision. Doubt is not humility, it is spiritual debt, and debt always comes with interest, paid in missed opportunities, stagnant vision, and delayed blessings. If faith is currency, then doubt is bankruptcy. Where faith builds, doubt breaks. Where faith opens, doubt closes. Where faith connects, doubt cuts off. You can't hold faith in one hand and doubt in the other and expect the divine system to move. That's not how this economy works. God doesn't respond to uncertainty. He responds to confidence in his nature. Let me be clear. Doubt is not the same as questioning. Asking questions can lead to clarity, but entertaining doubt leads to paralysis. Questions seek answers. Doubt assumes lack. And when you assume lack, you disconnect from the flow of abundance. Picture the divine blessing as water. Faith is the open pipe. The flow is steady, pure, unblocked. But then comes doubt, like rust inside the pipe. It starts small. Will this really work? Do I really deserve this? What if it's too late? But left unchecked, those tiny doubts multiply. They clog the flow, until eventually, nothing comes through. The vault is open, but doubt keeps you standing outside. The transaction is ready, but doubt keeps your hand from reaching out. Doubt is the invisible force that makes miracles stall. So how do you eliminate doubt? You don't just try to believe hard. You don't fight it with emotion. You replace it with truth. You displace it by choosing a higher frequency, trust. Let's be real. Doubt will knock on your door. It always does. But just because it knocks, doesn't mean you have to let it in. Just because it shows up doesn't mean you have to set a place at your table. Faith is a decision. Doubt is an option you can refuse. When the thought comes, what if it doesn't happen? You answer, but what if it does? When the voice whispers, you're not qualified, you declare, God qualifies those he calls. When fear says, it's too late for you, you respond, I walk in divine timing, not human deadlines. Every declaration of faith is a spiritual eviction notice to doubt. You don't beg it to leave, you command it to go, and when it goes, the flow begins. Let's talk about flow. The divine economy doesn't operate in chaos or tension. It operates in rhythm, in peace, in flow. Flow is where ideas come without force. Flow is where favor shows up without friction. Flow is where provision arrives, just in time, because your frequency is clear. You can't enter flow while holding on to fear. You can't hear divine guidance with the volume of doubt turned all the way up. To activate the flow, you must clear the signal. Think of a spiritual radio station. God's supply is always broadcasting, but doubt creates static. You'll still receive some pieces, but distorted, delayed, muffled. You've got to tune in with precision, and that means turning down the noise of fear and turning up the volume of trust. Here's how you do it. Catch doubt early. Doubt often shows up in subtle thoughts, not loud, but sneaky. It sounds like be realistic. Maybe it's not meant to be. Don't get your hopes up. Catch it. Name it. Cancel it. Say out loud, I reject this doubt. I replace it with trust. Speak the opposite. If doubt says, you're not ready, you say, I am equipped and called. If doubt says, you're too late, you declare, I move in perfect timing. Your mouth is the weapon. Use it to slice through fear. Revisit the source. Doubt thrives when we forget who the source is. Remind yourself, God is my banker. Heaven has unlimited resources. My account is never empty. Reconnect with truth. Return to center. And watch the flow return. Review past evidence. Every breakthrough you've had is a receipt, proof that the system works. When doubt whispers, this time is different, you hold up the receipt and say, if he did it before, he'll do it again. Write the plan. Send the message. Make the call. The movement activates confidence. You'll never eliminate every fearful thought, but you can refuse to dwell in it. You don't have to be perfect, just persistent. Here's the truth. Faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision to trust in the presence of doubt. It is saying, even if I feel uncertainty, I choose to move forward. That choice activates flow, and once you step into flow, provision speeds up. Doors unlock fast, ideas land sharper. People are drawn to you with divine timing. Because you are no longer blocked. You are open, clear, aligned. So today, ask yourself, where have I allowed doubt to live rent-free? Where have I stopped short? Not because of a closed door, but because of fear. Now evict it. Declare with power. I eliminate doubt. I trust the flow. I believe in the source. And I receive, without delay, without limit, without fear. 5. Speak prosperity. In the divine economy, your voice is not just sound, it is power. It's not just expression, it's execution. Your words are spiritual instruments, crafting your reality, forming your future, and authorizing your supply. You don't just speak to communicate, you speak to create. Prosperity begins in the mouth before it appears in the account. The money may not be there yet, the opportunity may not be visible, the healing, the peace, the promotion, it may not show up in the physical until you declare it in the spiritual. You see, in this divine system, your words are checks. Each one is either backed by the vaults of heaven or bounced by doubt, fear, and negativity. And just like a bank honors a check drawn from a real account, the universe honors words drawn from a heart full of faith. Here's the truth. You can't afford to speak words that contradict your desire. You can't say, I want abundance, but then speak fear, lack, and limitation all day long. Every word is a seed. Every sentence is a transaction. What you say is what you sow. If you want prosperity, you must learn the language of prosperity. You must speak, not what you see, but what you expect. Not what you fear, but what you believe. Not what others told you, but what God has promised you. Let's pause and ask an honest question. What have you been speaking lately? Have your words been investments or withdrawals? Have you been prophesying growth or predicting lack? Have you been cashing spiritual checks or bouncing them with fear? Most people don't realize they are cursing their own harvest with casual conversation. They say things like, I'm just trying to get by. Money doesn't grow on trees. I can't afford that. Nothing ever works out for me. I probably never get ahead. And then they wonder why prosperity seems distant. It's not just the external that's blocked. It's the internal that's misaligned. The universe hears everything. Heaven takes your word as law. So when you speak poverty, you plant it. When you speak delay, you water it. When you speak doubt, you give it power. But here's the good news. You can shift everything by shifting your speech. You can speak yourself into overflow. You can speak yourself into healing, peace, opportunity, breakthrough, and yes, wealth. Speak abundance like it's already yours, because spiritually it is. God has already released the provision. The vault is full, the angels are listening, the system is waiting, but it won't respond to silence. It won't move on fear, it moves when you speak in faith. Let's get practical. Learn, create a daily declaration practice. Speak life every morning. Before your feet touch the ground, declare, "Today I walk in abundance, I attract favor, I welcome divine provision. Money flows to me with ease, I live in overflow, I am aligned with purpose and prosperity." Say it loud, say it clear, say it until it feels real, because it is. Eliminate word poverty. Get rid of broke language. Broke language builds broke mindsets, and broke mindsets build broke results. Start saying, "If I desire it, I can have it. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. I prosper in all I do." Speak to the lack, don't accept it. When you see an empty account, don't say, "I'm broke." Say, "This is temporary. My supply is being refilled now." When the opportunity slips away, don't say, "I missed it." Say, "Something better is already aligned." Speak what you want to see, not what you fear to face. Before bless what you have, gratitude is verbal prosperity. When you speak blessings over what you currently hold, you open the channel for more. Say, I bless every dollar I have. I thank God for this provision, and I declare it multiplies." Small amounts become seeds in the hands of someone who speaks life over them. 5. Surround yourself with prosperity talkers. Words are contagious. If you're surrounded by complainers, worriers, cynics, your voice will match theirs. Find people who talk faith, who speak increase, who declare favor. Borrow their language until it becomes your own. You're not just changing your talk, you're changing your trajectory. Let me tell you this, every great shift in your life will begin with a sentence. One bold declaration can change your direction. One faith-filled phrase can open the vault. One spoken truth can set the system in motion. Think about this. In creation, God didn't wish the world into being. He didn't think it into existence. He spoke it. Let there be light. Let there be. Let there be. And there was. You carry that same creative power. It's in your mouth. Use it. Stop waiting to see before you speak. Start speaking until you see. If you're tired of lack, speak wealth. If you're tired of confusion, speak clarity. If you're tired of waiting, speak now. Because heaven moves on voice-activated commands. So declare it. I speak prosperity into every area of my life. My words align with abundance. I reject lack, delay, and limitation. I speak increase, favor, ideas, opportunities, and income. I am the mouthpiece of divine wealth. And everything I say in faith comes to pass. This is your new spiritual economy. No inflation, no recession, just results. God is your banker, faith is your currency, and your words are the checks that bring heaven's wealth into your hand. 6. Visualize the deposit. Every great creation begins with a vision. Before it is built, it is seen. Before it becomes physical, it becomes mental. The house, the business, the healing, the breakthrough. It all starts as a picture on the screen of the mind. The divine system responds to belief, but belief begins with imagination. If you cannot see it, you will not seize it. If you cannot hold it in your mind, you will never hold it in your hand. It is aligning your inner world with your spiritual truth. It is the process of receiving before the receiving happens. Imagine yourself walking into the bank of the divine. No guards, no gates, just unlimited supply and one invitation. See it, claim it, receive it. And how do you begin that withdrawal? You visualize the deposit. Most people wait until they see something happen to believe it's real. But spiritual law works in reverse. Belief first, then manifestation. Imagination first, then realization. Vision first, then provision. This is the economy of heaven. But your imagination is the interface. If you limit your vision, you limit your transaction. This is not just motivational talk, it's a divine principle. Abraham was told, "Look at the star, that's how numerous your descendants will be." He had no children, no heir, but God gave him a picture, a vision. Because the mind must see it before the spirit will receive it. You may not be able to hold it in your hands yet, but you can hold it in your heart, and that's where it begins. Let's get specific. You say you want wealth. What does it look like? Can you close your eyes and see the account balance? The business you're building, the home you're living in, the people you're blessing, because the divine responds to clarity, and clarity starts in the imagination. If faith is the currency, then visualization is the spiritual signature on the check. It says, I've already accepted this, I see it, I believe it, it's mine now. Your job is to see that it already has. Leave the how to heaven. Focus on the what and the why, and hold the image so clearly, it feels like reality. Because spiritually, it is. Here's what visualization does. When you keep seeing the vision, your mind begins to seek it as truth. Opportunities that once went unnoticed become obvious. Decisions become sharper. Clarity increases. Why? Because you've already rehearsed it in the unseen. When you visualize abundance, you raise your frequency. You begin to speak, move, and act from a place of success, not survival. And like attracts like, high frequency attracts high favor. You don't wonder if anymore. You start living in the when, and the when always shows up faster than the maybe. Now let's walk through how to visualize the deposit. Take a deep breath, connect with your spirit. Dean. Step 2. Paint the picture. Don't just see the bank account, see the notification on your phone. See the transfer. See the joy on your face. Don't just see the business, see the name on the sign. See the clients coming in. See the emails of success. Smell the office. Hear the sounds. Make it vivid. Dean. Step 3. Feel it. Emotion is the fuel. Feel the excitement. Feel the gratitude. Feel the peace of knowing it's done. The stronger the feeling, the deeper the imprint. Dean. Step 4. Repeat it daily. This is not a one-time event, it's a lifestyle. Just like exercise shapes your body, imagination shapes your spiritual world. 5 minutes a day can rewrite your future. Because what you repeatedly see, you begin to receive. Here's what's powerful. Even if the physical circumstances haven't changed, you have, and that shift changes everything. When you visualize the deposit, you're telling heaven, I'm ready. I see it, I expect it, and the universe always responds to expectation. But be warned, negative visualization is just as powerful. Every time you replay failure, you invest in it. Every time you imagine rejection, you invite it. Every time you see lack, you strengthen it. So ask yourself daily, what am I picturing right now? Am I meditating on problems or promises, on fear or on fulfillment? You are the architect. What you build in your mind becomes the blueprint for your life. Don't say, I'll believe it when I see it. Say, I'll see it because I believe. So let's declare this now. I see wealth. I see peace. I see overflow. I see purpose fulfilled. I see doors opening. I see my account full. I see my future strong. I see it clearly. I see it now. And because I see it, I trust it, I expect it, and I receive it. This is not just motivation. This is spiritual law. The world tells you to react to what is, but heaven tells you to respond to what's already done. See it, say it, and watch it manifest. God is your banker, faith is your currency, and today your vision is the receipt. 7. Give and receive freely. In the divine economy, giving is not losing, it is planting. Every time you release something in faith, you create space for something greater to flow back into your life. The world teaches you to hold tight, to keep, to clutch, to accumulate and protect. But the spiritual system runs on a different principle. What you release in faith returns in overflow, not as a subtraction, but as a multiplication. If God is your banker, then generosity is your investment account. It's where you show your trust in the source, not the substance. It's where you declare, I believe more is always on the way. Every seed you sow of time, money, love, energy, or encouragement is a signal to the universe that says, I am not afraid of lack. I live in overflow. I operate in abundance, and the system responds. The flow of provision is tied to your ability to give and receive freely. You must master both. Let's start with giving. Giving is not always about money, though money is a powerful expression of trust. Giving includes your attitude, your service, your attention, your energy. It's how you show up for people, how you pour out with joy, how you sow goodness, even when no one's watching. Most people hold back. They say, I'll give when I have more. I'll be generous when I'm not struggling. I'll help others after I get what I need. But the divine law works in reverse. You give first, then you receive. If you want joy, give joy. If you want opportunity, create opportunity. If you want increase, sow into someone else's increase. You never lose by giving. You only position yourself for greater return. In spiritual finance, generosity is never a liability. It is always an asset. And what about receiving? This is where many block their blessings. They give with good hearts, but when it's time to receive, they resist. They downplay the gift. They feel guilt. They say, you didn't have to, or this is too much. And in doing so, they reject the very blessing they've made space for. Receiving is not greed. Receiving is gratitude. It is accepting what heaven has sent, without shame, without hesitation, You cannot ask for abundance and then push it away when it arrives. You cannot declare wealth and then feel bad for living in overflow. You cannot pray for blessing and then label it too much. The cycle of divine prosperity is only complete when you give and receive. A river that only gives becomes dry. A river that only receives becomes stagnant. But a river that flows in and out becomes powerful, fresh, and life-giving. Let's look at how this works practically. 1. Give freely. Start with what you have. Don't wait to give big gust. Give a kind word. Give time. Give encouragement. Give money, even if it feels small. God doesn't multiply size. He multiplies faith. The widow gave a coin, and Jesus called it the greatest offering. Why? Because it was pure. It was trusting. It was free. Detach from return. Give without controlling the outcome. You don't give to manipulate results. You give because it's your nature. You are blessed, so you bless. You are loved, so you love. The return comes not because you earned it, but because you're in alignment. 3. Open to receive. Say thank you, without apology. Say yes, without guilt. Say I receive that without shrinking. You are not a burden. You are not greedy. You are a channel of blessing, and blessings must flow both ways. Celebrate other people's blessings. When you see someone win, don't get jealous. Get inspired. Celebrate their overflow, because it proves that the system works. And when you celebrate their blessing, you send a message to the universe. I'm ready for mine too. Give even when it stretches you. Sometimes your seed feels uncomfortable. That's okay. Stretching is a sign of growth. Faith-filled giving is rarely convenient, but it is always rewarded. When you release what feels tight, you open a space for what is meant to flow in. You might say, but what if I don't get anything back? And the answer is, you always do, but not always from the same place you gave. You may sow into a stranger and receive from a connection you forgot about. You may give time to someone in need and receive peace, clarity, or a new door of opportunity. The system remembers, always. Don't give for applause. Don't give for Instagram. Don't give for control. Give because it's who you are. Give because it keeps you in flow. Give because you trust your source. And when the blessing comes, don't hesitate. Don't explain it away. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. Receive with joy. Receive with faith. Receive with bold gratitude. I release with joy. I receive with grace. I am a channel for divine flow. What I give multiplies. What I receive expands. I walk in total alignment with prosperity. Send the gift. Make the call. Share the word. Give what you have, and make room for more. Because in the divine economy, generosity is never subtraction. It is multiplication. God is your banker. Faith is your currency. And giving is how you keep the flow in motion. 8. Take inspired action. Faith is not just belief. Faith is movement. Faith is motion. Faith gets up and walks when there's no road in sight, because it knows the road will rise to meet every step. You can visualize, you can pray, you can meditate and speak declarations every morning, but until you act, your faith is just a blueprint with no building. Action is the bridge between the spiritual and the physical. It's the down payment on your divine inheritance. It says to the universe, I'm not just hoping, I'm ready. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you. The money, it's waiting on your idea. The opportunity, it's waiting on your movement. The healing, it's waiting on your decision. The favor, it's looking for the moment you move in obedience. Faith without works is dead, but faith with action, it's explosive, it's magnetic, it attracts everything heaven promised, because heaven always funds what faith begins. You don't need to know the whole plan, you just need to say yes to the next step. God is not asking for perfection, He's asking for participation. Many people sit with incredible dreams, ideas from heaven, visions that could shift generations, but they wait, they hesitate, they second guess, they pray for confirmation, then ask for more signs, then wait for the timing to feel right. But here's the truth. The moment you felt the vision, you were already qualified, and the moment you take the first step, doors begin to open. Let's make this clear. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is a decision. Faith says, even if I'm nervous, I move. Even if I don't see how I walk. Even if it's small, I start. It's take inspired action, not desperate action, not scattered action. Inspired meaning spirit-led, that quiet inner nudge, that persistent idea you can't shake, that dream that keeps coming back in the middle of the night, that's your direction. Divine ideas carry energy, they don't leave you alone because they were planted by heaven. And what heaven starts, heaven funds, but the release doesn't come until you move. Let's break this down with clarity. Step 1, tune in to inspiration. You don't need a loud voice from the sky, you need to get still. God speaks in whispers, not in chaos. Listen for the idea, pay attention to what lights you up, follow the peace, follow the excitement, follow the pull that says this might be scary, but it's right. Step 2, start small, but start now. You don't need to launch a company today. Maybe your inspired action is writing the first sentence, making the first phone call, designing the first logo, asking the first question. Faith doesn't demand a leap, it just requires a step. Heaven can't multiply what you won't move. The 5 loaves didn't become thousands of meals until they were blessed and broken. David didn't defeat Goliath from the sidelines. The Red Sea didn't part until the Israelites walked toward it. What are you waiting for? For more money? For more confidence? For the perfect conditions? They may never come, but you can. You can come forward now, as you are, because heaven doesn't require perfection. It honors obedience. Step 3. Trust that support will show up. You may not have all the answers, but action activates support. The right people show up after you start. The right doors open when you knock. The resources flow as you build. Heaven funds what you begin in boldness. When you take the inspired step, you send a message, I trust you, and God responds, I trust you too. Don't try to master it all at once, just master the moment you're in. You don't need a 12-month plan. You need a 12-second decision, a decision to move, to act, to believe enough to start. Fear is not your enemy, it's just a sign you're doing something greater than comfort. Let it be present, but don't let it lead. Lead with faith, lead with vision, lead with purpose. Say this out loud, I am done waiting, I am done doubting, I take the step, I trust the voice, I follow the nudge, I move forward in faith, and heaven meets me with more than enough. Here's a truth to lock in, you don't get clarity, then take action. You get clarity by taking action. The video idea that won't leave your spirit, film it. The conversation you've avoided, have it. The gift or talent you've hidden, share it. You don't need a crowd, you need courage, and once you move, the crowd will come. The clients, the partners, the platforms, the provision. But it starts with you, taking the first inspired step. Don't let fear steal your future. Don't let overthinking bankrupt your breakthrough. God is your banker, faith is your currency, and bold action is your transaction. Now it's your turn to say yes back with your 9. Be grateful now. Gratitude is not just a response, it is a strategy. It is not just good manners, it is magnetic power. Gratitude activates, accelerates, and amplifies your spiritual account. If faith is your currency, then gratitude is your interest rate. It multiplies everything it touches. You don't wait to be thankful after the breakthrough. You become thankful before it happens, because in the divine system, thanks is proof that you already believe. Gratitude says, I already trust the outcome. I already know I'm provided for. I already see the blessing, even if it hasn't arrived. This is a mindset shift. Most people wait to say thank you until they see results. But true spiritual prosperity comes when you flip the script. You say, thank you, God, before the call comes back, before the money hits the account, before the healing is visible, before the door swings open. Because when you give thanks in advance, you're not just reacting, you're prophesying. That's what Jesus did before he multiplied the fish and the bread. He didn't ask, he didn't beg, he didn't complain. He looked up and gave thanks, and the food multiplied in his hands. Why? Because gratitude is the signal that says, I already know this is handled. When you are truly grateful, you align with the frequency of abundance. You move out of fear, you rise above lack. You stop focusing on what's missing and start celebrating what's on the way. And in that atmosphere, miracles manifest. Let's break this down clearly. 1. Gratitude changes your vibration. Gratitude is a spiritual frequency. It lifts you above anxiety, doubt, and fear. It tunes your spirit to the rhythm of abundance. The moment you stop complaining and start appreciating, you shift from scarcity to sufficiency. You no longer say, I need, you say, I thank you for what's already mine. Gratitude is not denial, it is divine perspective. You don't pretend challenges don't exist, you simply refuse to let them define your posture. 2. Gratitude unlocks more. Whatever you thank God for, grows. Whatever you appreciate, multiplies. Whatever you recognize, expands. You don't need more things, you need more awareness of what you already have. Your life may not be perfect, but you have breath, you have opportunities, you have lessons. You have access to a source that never runs dry. That alone is worth 1,000 thank yous. Gratitude reprograms your mind. Your brain is wired to notice what you focus on. Focus on problems, you'll find more. Focus on what's missing, you'll feel broke. But focus on what's working, and the world shifts. Start a gratitude journal. Speak your thanks out loud. Write a list. Say it in the morning. Say it at night. Train your mind to notice the flow, and you'll live in flow. 4. Thank God before the manifestation. This is where spiritual maturity kicks in. You don't just thank God after the blessing, you thank Him before. That's what faith looks like. That's what alignment sounds like. That's what opens the gates of provision. Say it with me. Thank you for the doors you've already opened, even if I can't see them yet. Thank you for the answers that are in motion. Thank you for the supply that's already on its way. Thank you for the harvest that's growing underground. 5. Gratitude kills complaining. You can't be grateful and bitter at the same time. You can't complain and celebrate in the same breath. Gratitude shuts down negativity. It silences the scarcity voice. It breaks the habit of lack-minded thinking. Make a decision. No more complaining. No more it's not enough. No more why me. Replace every complaint with a declaration of thanks. 6. Gratitude restores your peace. You might be walking through uncertainty. You might not know what's next. But gratitude grounds you. It says, I may not know the how, but I know the who. I may not see the path, but I trust the provider. Peace doesn't come from control. Peace comes from thanks. 7. Gratitude attracts opportunities. Grateful people are magnetic. Doors open for them. People want to help them. Resources flow toward them. Why? Because gratitude is attractive. It's contagious. It creates a positive energy that invites When you say thank you, ahead of the manifestation, you position yourself as ready, willing, expecting, and the universe responds to expectation, especially when it's hard. Say, thank you for waking me up today. Thank you for another chance. Thank you for strength in my body. Thank you for wisdom and guidance. Thank you for the blessings that are already mine. Don't wait for life to get perfect to be great. Be grateful and watch life respond. 2. Gratitude is not something you feel, it's something you do. It's a spiritual technology that moves you from waiting to receiving. Let's declare this together. I am thankful before I see the answer. I am grateful, even in the process. I give thanks because I trust the outcome. I magnify what I already have. I celebrate what's on the way. I am aligned with the frequency of divine abundance. So today, before you ask for more, before you stress about the how, before you give in to fear, stop and say, thank you. Say it until it fills the room. Say it until your heart shifts. Say it until the atmosphere changes. Because when you live in gratitude, you live in abundance. God is your banker. Faith is your currency. And gratitude is the signal that says, I'm ready for more. 10. Prosper with purpose. Wealth is not just for pleasure, it is for purpose. You are blessed to be a blessing. God is your banker. Faith is your currency. Now go out, transact with heaven, and build a life of divine prosperity. Say, true prosperity is never selfish. It's not simply about accumulation, it's about activation. You weren't created just to survive or store up, you were designed to circulate blessings. Money is a tool, success is a platform, influence is a responsibility, and purpose is the reason behind it all. When you align your prosperity with your purpose, something powerful happens. You stop chasing, and you start building. You stop striving, and you start serving. Because prosperity without purpose will always feel empty. But prosperity tied to impact creates lasting fulfillment. You were not born to just pay bills and die. You were born to leave a mark, to use your gifts, your voice, your resources, not just for personal comfort, but for kingdom contribution. Let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with having money. There's nothing wrong with success. There's nothing wrong with owning a beautiful home, wearing what you love, traveling the world, or living well. But if it ends with you, then it's not prosperity, it's possession. True prosperity flows, it moves through you, not just to you. It lifts others, not just yourself. God funds mission. God provides for assignment. God increases those who are willing to distribute what they receive. So ask yourself, what is my prosperity for? Who does it bless? What legacy will it build? You weren't given ideas just to make income. You were given ideas to make impact. Say, 1. Your wealth carries a message. Every resource in your life tells a story. When people see your excellence, when they experience your generosity, when they encounter your creativity, they are also experiencing the source behind your supply. Your life becomes a living sermon, not of greed, but of grace. That's the ultimate goal, not to point people to you, but to point people through you. Your prosperity becomes a witness. Your success becomes a testimony. You're not just building business, you're building bridges. Bridges to hope, to healing, to heaven. Assign your abundance. Money without mission is wasted. It wanders, it distracts, it even destroys. But when you assign your wealth to a cause, it multiplies in meaning. Ask yourself, who can I lift with this increase? What can I fund that aligns with my value? How can I structure my life to bless beyond myself? Be intentional, give strategically, support what matters, invest in lives, not just things. Because the world doesn't just need richer people, it needs resourced people with righteous purpose. Don't just prosper, create prosperity. You weren't just born to be blessed, you were born to be a blessing. Raise others, mentor someone. Start programs, create jobs, change systems, shift environments. Be the proof that God's economy works. You are not small. You are not just getting by. You are a channel of change, a distributor of divine wealth, a bridge between heaven's abundance and earth's need. So the question is not just what you're building, but who you're building it for. Your children, your community, your faith, your future. When you prosper with purpose, you create a ripple effect. You build systems and structures that carry on the vision even after you're gone. That is wealth with eternal value. Say, use every gift on purpose. God never gives more without a reason. Your talents, your ideas, your creativity, your connections, they're not random, they're assignments. You don't have to be a preacher to be on divine assignment. You can be a designer, a coach, a nurse, a business leader, a writer, and still be operating in purpose. Whatever you do, Do it with excellence. Do it with integrity. Do it with the mindset of a steward, not an owner. Everything in your hand is a seed, and seeds are meant to be planted. Don't hoard them, don't hide them, don't waste them. Plant them in good ground, and watch how heaven multiplies them for impact. Say, don't apologize for prosperity, steward it. There's no guilt in being blessed. There's no shame in living well. What matters is how you hold it. Do you hold it with pride or with purpose? Do you hold it with fear or with freedom? Do you hold it with selfishness or with strategy? Prosperity is not the enemy of purpose. Prosperity, when aligned with divine will, is the engine of purpose. Say, pray for purpose-driven increase. Ask boldly, God, enlarge my territory so I can expand your goodness. Increase my resources so I can lift others. Give me influence, not for fame, but for function. Bless the work of my hands that I may build something that glorifies you. God wants to prosper those who will use it well. Heaven is looking for distributors, not just collectors. So here's the final declaration of this journey. I prosper with purpose. I am blessed, not just for me, but to be a blessing. My wealth is not my identity, it is my instrument. I manage increase with wisdom. I live with open hands and a generous heart. I build with eternity in mind. I give God glory through every success, and I leave behind a legacy of impact. Because prosperity is not the end, it is the means, and when you walk in purpose, the wealth you carry becomes a tool for transformation. Faith is your currency, gratitude is your signal, and purpose is your compass. Now go build something eternal.